finance 2, and the fixed asset. So I will just go one by one. What are the options we will cover within the individual chapter, or you can say within the individual modules. So the first module is the general ledger setup and the review of finance dynamics AX. When I'm saying the general ledger setup, it means we will discuss about the first basic concept, how we will set up the currency, how we will set up the exchange rate, how we will define the ledger within to the legal entity form. Okay. In the second chapter, we will discuss about the chart of accounts. We will discuss about the balance. We will discuss about the importance of the chart of accounts, importance of the main account. What is the main account? When we are posting any transaction, we require a main account. Main account basically we define in a numeric. Like we can take one example, rent expenses. Rent expenses we can say 110110. This is the main account number. Okay. When we are posting the transaction, we will use 110110. We will not use the rent account. We will use the numeric number. We will discuss about the configuration, the chart of accounts. The chart of accounts basically is a list of a main account. And then we will discuss about the accounting configuration. What is the accounting configuration? Accounting configuration basically is the combination of the main account and the financial dimension. Now we come on the financial dimension. What is the financial dimension? When we are posting a transactions, we want to define the financial dimension. Like if I will say some to the finance team, please post a transaction for the salary. What they will do, they will post a transaction like salary expense debit to bank and salary amount is 50,000. But I want to know how much salary you have distributed to the finance department, how much salary you have distributed to the HR department, how much salary you have distributed to the IT department. They will never answer to me. So in the financial dimension, they will define the department, they will define the cost center, they will define the customer group. So depend on your requirement, depend on the business requirement, you can define the financial dimension. The financial dimension help you to describe your transactions, right? If you have any question, anyone, please interrupt me anytime. I will explain again. Okay. Okay. Everyone can hear me? Hello?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Okay. So please, whenever you have any question, please stop me. Then we will discuss about the general ledger configuration. Within this chapter, we will discuss about the importance of a general ledger form. Okay. And how we will set up a general name. The general name is the platform where we are defining how we can control our posting. Like if you want to apply a workflow before posting a transaction, you want to apply a workflow. Okay, you want to individual will submit the request, manager will review it, then we will post it. So you can apply the workflow within the.
Sorry for interrupted. Before you are starting, right? In the microdynamics as a 365, what are the modules are there?
Sorry.
So what are the modules are there in the finance? Is the same as general ledger, fixed ledger, AP, AR, all are there in the
Same. The modules is cannot change. The concept is the previous, whatever the concept you have in the previous version, the same concept we will come with the 365 as well. The reason is they cannot change the setup of a legal entity. You cannot change the concept of the finance. The finance part is the same one.
So why they introduce as a 365?
The 365 is a different part. The 365 introduced in on the cloud. On the previous version, if you're talking about the previous version on the on-premises, but they also launched the 365 on-premise as well. Okay, and they come over the different. They are not talking about only the finance part. They introduce in the different modules as well. Like when you're talking about the retail, when you're talking about the advanced warehouse, they come up with a new idea. Okay, they are not focusing only the one part. They are focusing entire part. They are coming with the different modules in the 365 as well. Therefore, when we are talking about the finance part is similar as the previous one. Like when we are talking about the vendor setup, when in the vendor setup, either you work in the 2009, either you work in the 365, the concept will never change, because the vendor will always remain vendor, the customer will always remain the customer. Okay, the GL will never change. The GL concept, we cannot change the GL concept. Agree?
Yeah.
So we here we are talking about the finance concept. So finance concept, if they will come in the near future, they will come with a new idea. They cannot change the finance concept. Mhm. They can add a few features depend on the requirement. They can add a few features depend on the requirement. But they can't change the finance like here. But within this, we will discuss also, like when you're talking about 2009 and when you're talking about 2012. Okay, they don't have a concept of the budgeting. Like I'm coming on the budgeting as well. Like here you can say we have a budgeting in the Microsoft Dynamics AX. We have a budget planning in the Microsoft Dynamics AX. We have a budget control. When we are talking about the previous version, like 2012 or 2009, okay, there was no concept of a budget planning. There was a concept of the budgeting, but there was no concept of the budget planning. But in a real scenario, the budget planning play a very important role in every organization. Okay, like in a big organization, if you have a very small organization, the single person will be responsible to prepare a budget and control the budget, is it doesn't matter. But if you have a MNC, okay, if you have a three around you are running a business into 13 or 14 countries, and there are a lot of team all involved creating a budget. So we have to go through the budget planning, right? In the previous version, budget planning was not there in 2012, okay, in 2009. They come up with the plan idea of the AX2012 R3 or AX2012 R2. Even we have our own R2 as well, but we don't have a concept for the budget planning in AX2012. Okay, so they come up with a new idea. They come, but they cannot change the complete finance part. Agree?
Yes.
Yeah, please. You can ask the questions. Naeem, you wanted to ask something? Hello. Naeem, if you're not able to answer, okay, you can write on the chat box, and I will reply on that one. Okay. See, when we are saying the for AX or A365, we have to understand the A is not a different thing. AX and 365 is the same one. Okay. When we are talking about yeah, there's a very big question, good question. Like we are doing the training for the Dynamics 365, or we are doing the training for the Dynamics AX. You are doing the training for the both. Either you can say for the AX, either you can say for the Dynamics 365. When you are saying that only the AX, it means you're talking about the previous version, like AX2012, AX2012 R2, R3. But when you're saying the Dynamics AX 365 is the latest version, okay? So you can save the both one, okay? Now, in the coming chapters, we will see the sales and withholding tax. We will discuss about how we can apply. Definitely, after the training, you can register yourself with the Microsoft examinations, and you can book the examination, and you can qualify the exam. Okay. So during the training, what I will do, what I will suggest few sample questions for the examination, so that you can prepare yourself for the examination as well. And when you will ready with the examination, you can go and you can book yourself for the examination, and you can give the exam. Okay. And on this, I will help out you during the training. Any other question from anyone? Okay. Should I move ahead? Okay. After that, we will discuss about the cash and bank management setup. Okay, and the cash and bank management reconciliation. See, when we are working on the ERP, we have a three parts. The first is a setup, the second is a integration, the third one is a transition and the reports. Okay. Like when we are doing the setup is not enough until you will not integrate in a proper place. After the setup, we are able to post the transactions, and after the transition, we are able to pull out the report. Mhm. Within this cash and bank management setup, we will discuss about how we can set up our check format, how we can set up a check layout, all these things. We will discuss about the bank type. We will discuss about the bank group. Okay. So we will discuss about when we are posting a transactions, whatever the transaction, how can we post the transaction for the bank. Okay. So we will discuss about the cash and bank management setup and the concept, and we will discuss about the bank reconciliation part. Then we will come on the vendor setup. Within the vendor setup, we will discuss about the key part, and we will discuss about the posting profile. Always remember the word the posting profile. What is the posting profile? The posting profile is a very key word for the dynamics. Okay. For all the modules, not only for the finance module, even for the all the modules. In future, when you go for the supply chain or inventory modules and everywhere, okay, the posting profile will play the very important role. The reason is when we are set up the vendor, we never define the GL account, but at the back end, when we are posting the transaction, some GL will be affected, right? So within the posting profile, we are defining the GL account. Which GL account will be affected when I will create a create a purchase order for the vendor, when I will create a sales order for the customer. So which GL account will be affected? These GL account we will define in a posting profile. So we will discuss also about the posting profile when we will discuss about vendor setup, customer setup, when we discuss about how we are posting the invoices. So what are the GL account will be affected when we are posting the invoices? Okay. Like when we're taking the example of like we have a thousands of a vendor. Okay. So we never create a thousands of a GL account for all the vendor. We never create a single GL account. So we always prefer to create a one GL account. We always prefer to create a GL account based on the group. Like you can say like we have a domestic customer or we have a domestic vendor, domestic international customer or international vendor. So we are we are defining a GL account based on the single vendor, based on a group of a vendor, or for all the vendor, or for all the customers, for all the items. Okay. So these GL we are defining into the posting profile. Mhm. Then we will discuss
So,
about, sorry.
just a second. Like you recently mentioned about invoice, right? So I always
Right.
had this doubt in my mind. Can you
Mhm.
explain the difference between an invoice, free text invoice, and a transaction? Like how are they different? I'm always
Yes.
confused.
Okay. The invoicing, when we are talking about the invoicing, when we come on the accounts payable part, okay, we will discuss about the four types of invoicing. Okay, we will discuss about when we are posting the simple invoices and when we are posting the purchase order. The purchase order basically we are using for the item, and for the invoices we are using for the expenses. Okay. When you are talking about the free text invoice, the free text invoice we are posting for the expenses or the services, and the sales order we are using for the inventory. We are using for the item, right? And when we are talking about the invoices in the AP part, we will discuss about the different method how we can post the invoices. We have invoice journal, we have invoice register, we have invoice pool. Okay. So we will discuss about invoice journal. The invoice journal is a complete solutions where we can use all the expenses of services we can post for the vendor. Okay. Invoice register and invoice pool. When you have a hierarchy, like you have a one trainee and trainee don't have a right to define the GL account, he don't have a right to approve the invoices, he just have a right to fill up the data only, like the customer name, invoice number, amount, that's it. But he don't have a right to approve it. He don't have a right to define the GL account. So he can use it either invoice register, and then when he will fill up all the data into the invoice register, the manager or the senior authority who will have a authority to approve it, he will go and pull out all the data from the invoice register or invoice pool and approve it, validate, then approve it, right? When we are talking about the free text invoice, the free text invoice basically we are using for the customer, we are using for the services and the expenses, mhm, and the sales order we are using for the item, sales in orders, then will be converted into delivery, then it will convert into the invoices, these things. Got my answer?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Then we will discuss about the vendor payment, how we can make a payment of a vendor. We can make a single payment to a vendor. We can make a bulk payment. Like we are talking about the payment proposal. When we are talking about the payment proposal means you have decided on this date we will make the payment to all the due invoices. Okay, maybe there's a thousands of due invoices. So you don't want to waste your time, go one by one and pay them. Okay, what you will do, you will just run a payment proposal and system will pull out all the due invoices as per the criteria you will define. And you can go through the auditing part, you can review all the one by one and you can make a payment. We also have a single payment option, we call it vendor settlement. Like there is some emergency because of the customer said no, you please make a payment, we require urgently, so you can go to a single vendor, you can make a payment through a settlement options. Okay, so depend on the scenario, you can make a payment on the bulk, you can make a single payment. The prepayment concept, we will discuss about the prepayment concept, people call the advance payment. Okay, prepayment concept in the customer side, in the vendor side, both side we have it. Then we come on the customer setup, like free text invoice I have already discussed, the sales order I have already discussed, the customer receipt when we are receiving a payment from a customers, okay, how we can post the transactions. The budgeting part I have already covered, the budgeting part, the budget
So,
controlling.
will you talk about daily trans in customer cash receipt?
Yeah, the customer cash receipt, when you are receiving a payment from a customer, like when we are making a payment to a vendor, and you also receive a payment from a customer as well. How you will
Yes.
post the invoices. So we have a customer in a AR, we have a payment journal. In AP, we have a payment journal.
Okay.
In both, we have a payment journal. Okay.
Got it. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Then these all are the related to the budgeting. When we are talking about the budget control, definitely everybody know that we have a budget controller, we have a budget manager who have authority to control all the budget amount. If you are exceeding the budget amount, like you have, the company has allotted 100 USD, but you want to post the transaction out of the 100 USD, you want to post the transaction 101, okay, system will not allow you. But someone who has authority to approve if you are exceeding it, right? If you are exceeding the budget, who has authority? Budget controller, budget manager. So you have to define who has the right to control the budget, right? Agree? So there are a lot of things. Maybe you want to make a controlling on the budget for the only single GL account, or you want to make a control for all the GL accounts. You want to make a control for the specific period. Okay, so you have to define the exchange rate for the budgeting. Maybe you have a different exchange rate for the transaction, but maybe you have a different exchange rate for the budgeting as well. Okay, so you have to define the budget cycle, you have to define the budgeting GL account, you have to define the budget controller, you have to define the budgeting threshold. So there are a lot of things we will cover in the budgeting sections. Okay, then we will come on the bill of exchange. Like most of the countries are not using the bill of exchange right now, right? But I believe anyone has idea about the bill of exchange? Hello, Kishore?
No
Naeem?
idea.
No idea.
No,
No
no
idea.
idea. Okay, so bill of exchange, we can take an example like if I wanted to buy something from you, but I don't have a money, so will you give me the inventory? I don't have a money. But I need something from you, and you need a money from. You can't, right?
Yeah.
But what I will do, you will write a bill of exchange, and I will accept it. You will go to the bank and you will withdraw the bill of exchange, right? So now and later, I am responsible to the money to the bank, right? So this is called the bill of exchange. I don't have money, but I wanted to buy something from you, and you said, no, 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 I can't sell out until you will not pay me. I said, brother, you can do one thing. You can just write out the bill of exchange, okay, and I will make a sign on that one, okay. Then it means I have accepted that I will be liable to pay the amount to the bank after 30 days, after the 60 days, whatever the due amount has. So then, but for you, you can go to the bank, you can withdraw the money. Mhm. So, but I can buy and you can sell it without the money. Clear? Any doubt about the bill of exchange?
No. Got it.
Got it? I believe everyone got it. Mhm. Then we will discuss about the centralized payment. And centralized, when we are talking about the centralized payment or intercompany accounting, mhm, centralized payment, like you are in the USA, okay, and you have multiple offices in different state of USA, and you are saying that from Ohio, where I am right now, is the head office, and from the head office we are paying to Oregon, we are paying to New York, we are paying to different state of USA. Mhm. So it's a centralized payment. You are making to from the one center. You are making to payment for all the branches. Mhm. We are talking about the intercompany concept. Okay, you want to make a payment for different branches or different legal entities. So you have to set up the intercompany accounting, and you can make a intercompany GL. Mhm. We will come on the elimination and the consolidation part. When we are talking about the consolidation, it means you want to consolidate a different legal entities. We have a different method of the consolidation, like the like when we are using the same chart of accounts, when we are using a different chart of accounts, and then we are not using the chart of accounts. Means, and you have to create one legal entity which indicate only for the consolidation purpose. Within the consolidation, you will not system will not allow you to post a transaction, because the purpose of the consolidation company is to combine all the balances from the different legal entities. So we will come on the detailing when we will do during the training section. Mhm. Customer collection, we are talking about the collection part. How we can, what are the activities we will perform during the collections? Like we are sending the statement, customer statement, so that they can notify. We are sending the reminder letter. We are writing an email. If they are not responding us, like we are writing them first letter, second letter, the third letter, but they are not responding us. So maximum you wanted to, as per your company policy, maybe your company policy says you can send out the 5 letter. After that, you can go with the legal proceeding. Maybe your company policy says no, maximum 3 letter we will send out. In the fourth letter, we will go with the legal proceeding. So as per the company policy, you will talk about the customer collections. What are the procedures? Like when we are discussing during there's some invoices, there's a disputed invoices, so you want to discuss with the client, you want to discuss with the okay, why there's this, we have a dispute on this invoice. So you can book the meeting. Okay, you can define what is the activity you will perform. You will define each and every activity. Okay, and maybe there's something you have to write off your balances as well. They are not going to pay you because of some reasons. You have to write off. So you also have to define the right of balance within the parameters, and you can write off the balances, right? Do the company normally use consolidation? Sorry, I miss out your chat. Let me open that one. What's the question is? Do the company normally use the consolidation feature of AX, as I have seen company using different apps for consolidation? Like, see, it depends on the organization. It depends on the organization where currently I am assisting. They are agreed to use the consolidation method for the Dynamics AX. So it's not, we can't say that they are not using. It depends on the organization to organizations. They wanted to use it, they can. They don't want to use it, it's up to them. Mhm. But we have a features, so if company wanted to use it, it's up to them. Okay, agree? Then we can discuss about the 1099 parts. Okay, how we set up the 1099 parts. We have a year-end closing process. We will discuss about how we can do the year-end closing process, how we to prepare a closing sheet, how we are transferring the opening balances to the next year. What are the key points we have to keep in mind when we are doing the closing process? Okay, like we have a different status of a period, like on hold, open, closed. Okay, like 31st of December is always on hold. Why? So that nobody can post the transaction. But we can change the status from on hold to open, okay, during a closing process. So we have to keep in mind, like last year, last period must be open, next year period must be open, like these things. So we will discuss in the detail when we come on the in the training part. Then we come on the fixed asset, like the third part is fixed asset. We will discuss about the entire process, acquisition till disposal, how we can apply the depreciation, what are the method we to acquire the asset, what are the method to dispose your asset. Okay, we will discuss about each and everything. So this is the complete TOC from my side. If you have any questions, anyone, please. Hello.
Yeah, what about reports parts? In these points, you are not mentioning anything in the reports.
Yeah. Regarding this, it's a reporting is a separate course. But what I will do, I will educate all the standard report, whatever the standard report we have in the Dynamics 365. In every modules, like in what the reports we have in AR, what the reports we have in AP, what the reports we have in cash and bank management, what we report we have in AP and okay, the fixed asset. So what I will do, whatever the standard reports we have, I will show you all the reports. Inventory report is not the part of the financials. Inventory, we have a different modules for the supply chain, is a different course.
Yes, yes.
So, okay, talking out of the subject, can I know how long would it take to cover the course content?
The course content, that if you go with the 8 hours training, it's 8 days training.
8 hours into 8 is like 64 hours, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Well, like, okay, I'll discuss this to the training company. And the other thing I wanted to ask you is, well, sorry, I just forgot it. I'll just get back to you when I recall.
No problem, no problem. Okay, what are the other related area to get a job? Name, see, when we are talking about the only the as a functional consultant, okay, so it's very important, like you have to idea about the inventory as well when you are working as a finance consultant. Okay, so definitely you have to get a few knowledge about the inventory setup as well, because only the finance part is not enough to get the complete job.
So what are the rules and responsibility of the functional consultant?
See, like my responsibility is I am the responsible to collect all the processes. Like what I do personally, what I do, I go to the meeting with all the business owner, okay, like all the GMs or the business head, and understand their processes. I'm talking about the fresh implementation, to understand that their processes, and based on the processes to prepare the as analysis documentations. Okay, as analysis documentation says you are define the current processes. Okay, and based on the as analysis documentation, we are comparing the analysis documentation with the RAX, and based on that we have come up with the fit gap analysis. And again, when we are talking about the fit gap analysis, the fit gap analysis documentation says whatever we do not have in the dynamics is what the customer requires. Okay, then we come on the technical side, and again we discuss with the technical team, like the customer is requiring this one. So again the technical team also go with the meetings, they also discuss about this one. Okay, so what are the so we are responsible to preparing all the documentations, like the business flow chart, the business documentations, the fit gap analysis documentation, then functional design documentations. So after designing all the documentations, when the customer is agree, okay, like, okay, now you can go with this kind of a setup. And then we have come up the set of the legal entity, defining the GL account, defining all the customer and the vendor. We are collecting the data from the client. We are uploading the data into the system. So these are activity we are performing.
Okay.
Okay, and then
Well, mhm.
and so coming to me, I only have very limited understanding of Dynamics AX. So will I be the right person to get through this training? I mean, whatever you cover, would it be understood by any fresher candidate, or should I have some awareness on this with my
No,
earlier experience?
no. See, because you have when we are talking about any ERP, okay, we are always try to focus on the your concept. Okay, see, within the ERP, what you have to understand the path, but the concept you have to understand from the market. Okay, and during the training, when we will go with the training, I will always try to take a live example. Okay, from my experience, I always try to take a live example. So don't worry, you are the fresher or anything. Okay, we delivered full most of the trainers. Most of the candidate as a freshers, as a consultant. So don't worry regarding this that you are the fresher or all these things. Okay.
Okay, because I wasn't following much when you were talking about general ledger, because
Mhm.
I have zero knowledge on general ledger and stuff. So
No
only
problem.
had this concern. Okay.
Okay. You have a zero knowledge. Now let's take few examples. Okay, like when we are talking about the journal, means here we are talking about the GL account, means like we can say in a normal language, rent. Are you paying the rent for your house?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Are you paying the rent for your house? Okay.
Yes.
If I will say just post the transaction. So what you are paying? You are paying the rent, and the nature of expense is rent, but ultimately you are paying the money, right?
Yes.
Ultimately you are paying the money. So you will just say, okay, I have paid for the rent. So rent, you can say rent, I am denoting the rent as 110110. This is my rent account. Okay.
Okay. Account in
So
the sense the account to which you are depositing, or
the
what
account
does?
says means the nature of expense or nature of income. The nature of expense and the nature of income. In the daily life, we are doing a lot of accounting, but we are saying we are from the IT guy, so we don't have accounting knowledge. No, as per my understanding, everybody is playing the accounting role as accountant, because at a home you're also preparing a budget. If you wanted to buy something, let's suppose you wanted to buy a new laptop, okay, and you have some budgeting, like okay, I can spend $30,000. Okay, so what you will
Okay.
do? You will go to the market and you will try to find out within the $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
Your budget says no, I have $50,000. So what you will do? You will go to the market. You will try to find out the budget approx $50,000. So you are
Yes.
also preparing a budget. You are also preparing a budget in your house. The same thing, whatever you're performing on a daily routine, the same thing we will discuss about within this, nothing else. So
Okay, well,
when people says I'm a account, not from account background, I say no, you are the from the accounts background, from the childhood.
mhm. So coming back to our example, you mentioned it as 11011101, right? The
Yeah,
account number
because
is.
the reason is we cannot type a rent in the system. So we will type 110110.
So
That's it.
should we understand 110110 as rent?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so because you mentioned it as some account number, I thought it has to be your account number from which you are paying, or it
No, no,
should
no,
be
no,
an
no,
account number to which you are paying.
no,
Okay, so the
no.
nature of transaction,
Nature of transactions.
okay. So you have different codes or like different naming convention or whatever it is, right? Is
Right, right, right.
okay,
That's it.
okay. Now I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
And I think I noticed that you started to record the class. Someone has started to record the class. So I understand I would be provided with the class recordings, but do I also get some documentation from you where I
Yeah,
can
so
go?
when we will start the training, I will provide all the documentations, okay, for
Okay.
the hands-on and for the PPT and everything. So don't
Okay,
worry.
cool. Cool, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So are you giving the application access to practice
Yes, yes,
the?
yes. Yeah. For regarding this, you can talk to the uh, Smita or maybe Firoz. Okay, but
Okay.
during the training, definitely we will give the access to for the training.
I mean, will you provide access through a remote desktop or how does it work?
Uh, I believe Smita and Firoz can confirm each and everything regarding this.
Okay.